Good morning. It's a Sunday morning, and this is Jeffrey Paul with an inspiration for you. First of all, I want to find out if you can hear me. That's the most important part. I've just rigged up a brand new audio system, and I want to be sure that you can hear and hear it well, because this inspiration is really going to be important to all of us, really all of us. You know, so often I share with you the relationship of the power of the effort of having a life plan. You know, it has a power to it. It has a draw, a motivation, an inspiration. But there are a number of steps you take in that natural way of building a plan for your life. And then what I want to share with you today is the supernatural engagement. Now, we talked earlier this week about thrusters and throwing the thrusters on. And I was kind of leading you into this lesson for Sunday because throwing your thrusters on is not, and hear me when I say this, it is not working harder. It is not running with more hours in the day than you even have. It's not having more tasks on the list that you have. You know what it is? It's throwing the thrusters from the natural, good effort, good planning, into the supernatural, the spiritual realm. It's like as if you could picture for a moment, because I see it in my mind, an eagle just taking a few steps and then whew, they're off into the soaring that is beyond the ability of all the running the eagle could do. The reality is that what I want to teach with you today in regards to really leaving the natural, not throwing it away, not ignoring it. You have goals, you have plans, you have life schedules, life courses. You got a lot of good things in line, but you could run the rest of your life and never achieve the supernatural desires and accomplishments unless you engage, throw the thrusters on, of the spiritual realm. So let me share with you how to do that, because it's really not that hard. There's a book in James in the Bible that talks about don't plan every single thing in your life. Plan, but don't plan because you really don't know all the steps it takes, and you don't know what tomorrow will bring. How many of you feel that way and understand that? So often we don't know what tomorrow is. How many of you have made plans and suddenly a phone call comes in, a circumstance comes up, not always bad, but it completely changes your plan of course of action. Well, that's life. You want to take and build your plan and your goals and your life plan, but hold them loosely because of another scripture I want to share with you out of Proverbs 16. It talks about that I have these plans, the desires of my heart, the wishes, the hopes, but I really need to lay them down before the Lord and have Him lift them up. So your role on the natural was to go in and draw from your heart what you desire and what you want, whatever that is, whatever He's written inside you, whatever He calls from within you that you're called to do, you're called to have, you're called to receive. You're to write those down. Why? Because it says in Habakkuk that if you write them down, they'll remind you and refresh you. You know what today I did? I started to go over my goals. I do it every day, looking at my goals. I try to do it every day. And just glance at them, be sure that I'm on track. Then I look at them at the end of the week and kind of really expose myself to a little more depth, maybe put some notes in there. And once a month, I really spend a good couple of hours of revising, reviewing, and renewing my goals, my whys, and the things that have happened and taken place. Why? Because those things written down help me refresh my mind, renew my mind, and keep me going in the right direction. But the reality next comes is when you really begin to envision in the spiritual realm the end in mind. Steve Covey, maybe you've read his books, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, really has moved my life in the years past when I've read it, and continue to go back to it and look at segments. But he talks about having the end in mind. To be able to meditate on your end in mind is beginning to go from the natural, where you can see something physically, you can touch something, you know it's there, that's the physical, that's the process of doing the things you need to do. Then to take the meditation and see it already done. I want you to hear this because it sounds like probably a lot of things that you've heard in the past, but I want to lead you today in a way to really make it a difference, from going from the natural of accomplishing your goals, getting where you want to get to, doing what you want to do, into arriving there even before it physically takes place. And that comes through vision. That comes through faith. Faith in Hebrews 11:1 says, I believe in what I do not see yet, but I'm certain of what I hope for. It's a powerful single sentence. Powerful. And the reality is that it's so important that you and I continue to take the time to visualize the finished work. You know, I ask people, just yesterday we were with my cousin Janet, who's, always just running the race and writing a book and doing a course, and she's just an absolute. She's been in a group that I put together, which was a kind of a group that I could mentor and help them get to the next level with their online programs and their efforts and their goals. And she was like one of the leaders in the class. And I finally yesterday, as we were traveling down into the Amish country to see some friends of ours, I said, what does it look like? Your goal, your end result. When you're done with this book and you're done with this course, what does it look like? And she gave me some explanation, and then she said to me, you know what, I really don't know yet. And that's good. I mean, it's good to know what you know and don't know. But here's what's most important for you and I. The most important part is that we need to understand within ourselves what we'd like it to look like. So here's your challenge. If you're looking for a relationship, let's say it's a marriage or it's just a great friendship. If you're looking for your body to be in better shape and more energized and more stamina in it and more strength in it. If you're looking for a career where you're going to be a great salesperson or a great hairdresser or whatever it might be. If you're looking for those things in your goals, you need to spend time in the spiritual realm of meditation, of seeing what it looks like. Not trying to imagine. I'm talking about go within your heart and take a look at what it really looks like. And picture it and go into that realm from the natural to the spiritual. Experience it as deeply as you can, and then relate to it even on notes in your journal. What does it feel like to be in a relationship that is harmonious and loving and compassionate and kind? I mean, people write books about this. People, do movies about this. But before it became a movie and before it became a book, it was a part of the imagination and thoughts and vision and meditation, even if they didn't use those words, writing those books or doing those things. And I say this because the more you can spend spiritual time in the things that you are looking to achieve and experience in them, you will draw so much closer the absolute spiritual supernatural that will take place to make those things take place that you could never do on your own. Mother Teresa quoted this, and I tried to find it today to get the exact quote, but I remember hearing it over and over again. She says, I work as if it all depends on me, but I believe and trust it all depends on God. That's that faith impression that's going on inside of someone who's really on a course. You do what you need to do, write your goals, do the steps of action that I've shared with you, do whatever is necessary. But start to take and block out some time to meditate on the end in mind, as Steve Covey says. The end in mind. What does it look like? What does it look like when you arrive at your goal? What does it look like when you're in shape? What does it look like? I mean, take the time to look at yourself, looking in the mirror. If your body was the goal, look in the mirror and flex. If it's looking more beautiful, if it's looking, more healthy, what does it look like? And imagine that. Meditate on that. Begin to live in that spiritual realm, even if it's only 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And you will see that you're going to go from the physical effort of accomplishing your goals into the supernatural. It's like a magnet. It just draws you to places you could never achieve and never imagine. Now, I know this all may sound a little, I don't know what it sounds like. You're going to have to tell me in your comments. But it may sound to you that it's just kind of fantasy. but it's biblically based throughout the entire structure of the scriptures. Even Jesus talked about and said everything that he was envisioning was going to take place in his life. Everything he told Peter that was going to take, and even Peter said, no, you can't do that. And the reality is that he continued to project himself into the place of his goal, his achievement, his resurrection. Now, did he go through all the details? No, you don't have all the details, but he would relive those moments. And that's what you and I need to do. We need to live the moment of what does it look like when you arrive. So let me just review real quickly because there's a lot of content here. If you have a goal, let's take one, and we fast forward to December 31st, 2017, and you have accomplished fully the goals and desires of your heart, what does that look like? Take the time to meditate. One of two things are going to happen, and I want to alert you to this. One, it doesn't seem as important anymore. It may not seem as valuable. It might not have the great why that you need to work towards that goal. Or it might motivate you and inspire you to the level that you just absolutely feel and sense the reward of accomplishing the goal even before you get there. Can you imagine all year long enjoying the accomplishment of the goal fulfilled even before, only in the steps before the goal is completely come to fruition? It's so important you take this time and examine your heart and paint the picture. Paint it on the canvas of your mind and your heart and your imagination. What does it look like when your goal is fully accomplished? If you've written a book, how does it feel signing the books at the bookstore? How does it feel when you're on an interview on a TV show or on a radio show? If your goal is to start a business, what does it look like when your name goes up on the sign? What does it look like in the relationship that you've already accomplished and you're walking down the runway to the altar for a marriage vows to be said? Live in that, and that's a good example too. A woman who's getting ready for a wedding, a bride. She imagines every minute down to the napkins, doesn't she? Don't you? All the women out there, nod your heads that have gone through that. That's one of the biggest planning and imagining the event and being in the moment. I mean, the moment itself is only a couple of hours, but the ramp up to that is precious and rich and rewarding if you're meditating on the very issue of what you're seeking for. So my challenge to you is this. Take the time to imagine. And there's not a right and wrong. There's nobody going to check you and give you a grade A, B, C, or D in this. But every time that you do this meditation, it's going to get a little clearer and refined. And then when you come back into the natural realm, you're going to have more to add to your goals, clarity of your direction of where you're going, and you're going to find the power of Hebrews 11:1. Believing in what you do not see at the moment, but certain of what you hope for. Calling the things that are not as if they are is what Abraham was called as a friend of God, a powerful man of God, because he would see into the future of the children, that he would count the stars that would be greater than the stars. All the biblical principles I'm sharing with you are wrapped into being able to take a moment, and hopefully more than a moment, and meditate on what it looks like. What does it look like when you accomplish your goal? Now, since I see my friend Mark Rosen, incredible coach and strength coach, I remembered a story that I want to share with you that represents this on the psychological side, okay? I gave you the biblical side, faith, Hebrews 11:1. The psychological side was a German Olympic team, diving team, had a new psychological coach that took half the team and they dove and practiced diving and practiced diving and practiced diving. The other half of the team spent the same time on the board, high diving, but not jumping, mentally imagining the entire process of the dive. What do you think the results were? Well, I'm going to tell you what. The ones that mentally went through the process of seeing the end in mind, the goal that they had, received more gold medals than the ones that had gone through all the practice. Now, both practiced it, but half the practice for the ones that imagined was not diving physically, it was diving mentally. I want you to dive in to your goals. I want you to dive in to your dreams. I want you to dive in to your desires and see them for what they will be and live in that moment for just a second. Live in it. And that's the difference between going from the natural and dragging through 12 months of the year to try to accomplish the goal. Instead, being there and experiencing the experience every single day and every single step. And when there's a challenge, you have less that will push you back because you have the motivation and the draw and the magnetism of what already is in your mind's heart, in your spirit, in your physical and mental ability to see into the finished work. Or as Steve Covey says, the end in mind. So here's your challenge. Let me know that you're seeing into the future by just sending me a comment. Say, I'm seeing, or I'm looking into the future, and let me know what you think so that I can come back tomorrow morning and really share even further with you where there might be some clarity necessary, because this is a very important lesson. So I took a Sunday to do it so I could take a little bit more time with you. It is important. I've shared with you goal setting. I've shared with you writing them down. I've shared with you a life plan. Almost a whole year now of sharing with you the absolutes of going through the process of getting your life ready to move forward. Now, this is the momentum. This is the deal breaker. This is the breakthrough ability. The secret, if there is such a thing, the secret to accomplishing your goals, to breaking through your limitations, is to see it in the spirit. See it and meditate. Be in the moment. Experience it in the moment that it really is happening based on Hebrews 11:1 of believing in what you don't see at the moment, but certain of what you hope for will be. That's my challenge to you. And Mark, I know that you're seeing it because I can see your comments already, and I hope that each and every one of you that are on this morning and will be on later this afternoon and this evening will send a comment and share this. Share this throughout the day. Don't just do it right now. Do it right now, but don't just do it right now. Throughout the day, just take a moment and hit this again and go forward. Why? Because when you do that share, I want you to do this. Take a moment and see into your future. See into the spiritual realm that sees things that are not yet, but will be. Then, for sure, you're going to be motivated beyond your imagination. So, I've got so much more to share with you on this. It's so important. It's a principle that will get you to the places you only dream and desire of, but never have experienced. Now you'll experience it. So I look forward to your comments. I look forward to everything you have to share. And I'll be back tomorrow, and enjoy the day while you continue to experience your goals and the things you desire right now. Have a beautiful day.